Welcome to another in the continuing series of Impact of IT webinars featuring our good and valued vendors. Today, we welcome Ryan Kunish along with Elvia Enriquez, and they're with Assignar. And they have a punchy, quick, but very informative webinar for you guys today. You know, we continue to offer these webinars because we missed you in Chicago. We're very disappointed we couldn't have our annual event in Chicago, but everybody understands why. And we look forward to seeing all of you and Ryan and Elvia in Orlando at the Coronado Springs Hotel, February 14th through the 17th. It's going to be incredible. At that event, you'll have the opportunity to meet with the Assignar people, along with all of our other valued vendors, and of course the leadership of the ironworkers and the top leaders in the contractor and construction industry, as is typical of our event. So let me just do a couple housekeeping items. As you can see at the bottom of your screen, many of you have attended these before, but you can see it's the same as it ever was. We have a Q&A button and we have a chat button. Now, we don't monitor the chat button. We only monitor the Q&A button. This is going to be a short, punchy presentation by Ryan and Elvia, but keep in mind, you can type in your questions and we will get all of your questions to the representatives of Assignar. All of them will be answered. Now, some of them will be answered live at the end. We're going to have maybe 4 or 5 minutes for Q&A at the end of this presentation. But if for some reason we don't answer live and online, we will certainly get all the questions and your contact information to Assignar so that they can follow up with you quickly. Again, mark your calendars, February 14th through the 17th in Orlando, at the beautiful Coronado Springs Hotel. That's where you'll see the impact staff, the contractors, the ironworker leadership, and our friends at Assignar. So with that, I'll turn it over to Ryan. Ryan, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it. Looking forward to seeing everybody in Orlando. We're headquartered in Denver, Colorado, so in February it'll be nice to get to someplace warm. Also, thank you in advance to Impact. We've got a great relationship with folks at Impact and looking forward to even more future collaboration going forward. So what we're going to talk about today is we'll go over who Assignar is. I'll tell you a bit about myself as well after we jump in. We're going to talk about how Assignar improves site operations, specifically with our software platform. And then we'll just give you a brief overview of how to work with us. And then, as Kevin mentioned, we'll do some questions at the end. So I'll jump in. All right, so who is Assignar anyway? So first off, my name is Ryan Kunish. I'm the Vice President of Corporate Development and Partnerships. So I look after the strategy here at Assignar and also work with industry partnerships like Impact. Our mission at Assignar is to build software that affords self-perform and subcontractors more time for building. Our goal in that mission is that you are all on the job site building the great things, buildings and infrastructure that we all enjoy, and you don't need to be stuck in software. So we try to build software that gets you back at your job and helps you get the work that gets you paid. And our vision is to be the #1 business platform for self-perform and subcontractors to grow their business. So overall, to help you grow and sustain your business. We've been around since 2014, and we were originally founded in Australia, but we've moved our headquarters to Denver, Colorado a few years ago. We've got 60 employees, and we're serving over 600 customers across both continents. So a typical customer of Assignar is, if you've got somewhere between 50 and 1,000 employees, I know that's a wide range, but our software is highly configurable. And if you're in the industries of steel erection, reinforcing, rigging, cranes, concrete, infrastructure, as you can see here, and many more, really, we help facilitate job site operations for contractors who have to coordinate skilled crews and a lot of different equipment. And so those are usually high-risk jobs that have very tight schedules. And so I'll show you a little bit more about how we facilitate that. Typically, we're working on the buying side with operations managers, safety managers, scheduling, so on, sometimes owners, depending on the size of the company. And then users of our software are the scheduler, the foreman, and even some of the crews and operators in the field, depending on how you want to implement the software. We have a wide range of customers from big to small. I like to say we can scale up or scale down depending on the type of organization you have. But we have a contractor up in Vail, Colorado, who has 5 employees, probably our smallest customer, but we were able to configure our platform to meet their needs. And then our largest customers, like what you see here, Lang O'Rourke is an international, multinational company, and we're used across about 5,000 of their workforce. So a lot of flexibility within our platform. All right, so Assigner's real application is to improve operations using our software. We are in the field operations side of automation. And today, for a lot of contractors, and many of you on this call, this is probably a familiar picture in the background here. This is a magnet board of one of our actual customers. But a lot of operations is still analog. It's whiteboards, it's sticky notes, it's magnet boards. Realizing a lot of you are using timekeeping apps or maybe some forms apps, but we call those point solutions. They're not connected across your operations. They're kind of a unitasker as a tool, or you have got some software that you've either created or that you purchased a long time ago, and it's probably desktop software or difficult to configure. So we see a wide range of solutions, but predominantly we still see a lot of manual systems, especially in scheduling and allocating resources. So over the last few years, we've seen a great increase in capabilities with software. And I like to say that our industry deserves more, deserves better, and it's becoming easier to deliver those solutions. Our mobile devices have come a long way in the last 4 to 5 years. The computing power is amazing. And the cell phone networks have greatly improved. And in the future, not too distant future, they'll improve even more drastically with the spread of the 5G network. And so accessing data, large amounts of data, and the speed of that data will just continue to improve. Software has also become more configurable, and the automation of workflows that can conform to your business is becoming an expectation that you should have when you're looking at purchasing new software solutions. And then also the fact that cloud-based software provides so many advantages, especially when it comes to reduced costs for your organization, and just the flexibility and scalability of that software, the ability to update the software and to accommodate your needs in a much more rapid pace than before. All of that comes from software that's born in the cloud and doesn't have the technical debt of some of the older software solutions that have been available. So operations, as you all know, is about resource management. And so across the many different trades that we serve, we look at fuel, labor, equipment, materials. And I know for many of you, labor and equipment are really key. Making sure that you have skilled, available labor, that you have maintained available equipment is critical to operating your businesses. And so what does that mean on the job site? That you're constantly needing to measure progress, the productivity, the quality, and foremost, the safety of your workforce. And then, of course, for the sustainability of your business, looking after those costs to manage job site operations. And so that's what Assignar does. We are a platform for your operations side of your business. We complement investments that you've made in accounting software. We are not a project management software, so we do not handle contract workflows, the RFIs and change orders. We're strictly around resource management and allocation. We work with and have partnered with many of the premier providers of project management software like Procore and Aconex, and we also partner with a number of the accounting software businesses, some that you may work with today. So anything from QuickBooks to Xero on the smaller end, all the way to Sage and Acumatica on some of the larger side of the equation. So we complement those investments that you've made. We gather data from the field, we communicate to the field. And so we're really focused on managing your crews and equipment, making sure that they're scheduled and optimized. We have a safety and compliance forms engine that we use to interact with your field teams, so we can automate job site hazard analysis and toolbox talks. We integrate that into that schedule management workflow. We have a built-in business intelligence module as well, so that you can take a look at all of that data and use it to manage your field operations, and also perhaps to integrate with other systems you might need to work with. And then, of course, the real-time management of communication between the office and the field. And then kind of lastly, the final module here around cost management is we do have a real-time collaborative and cloud-based cost estimating tool. So for the rest of the presentation, I'm going to flip through each of these to give you guys a feel for what Assignar does. And then at the end, happy to field some questions from you. So starting with kind of the core of Assignar is based off of scheduling. So we believe that resource management, fuel, labor, equipment, materials needs to be not only available, but fit for service on that job site. And so our scheduling is a drag and drop user interface. We allow you to flip between crews and equipment. We can schedule work breakdown structure down to a very granular level. We can differentiate between different roles and tasks. Also, our system is able to conform to other systems that you use or existing process. You can rename things within our platform. So if you call them jobs and not work orders, we can accommodate that. If other systems that are use certain terminology and you'd like to see that flow through the workflows here in Assignar, we can accommodate that as well. So it's highly configurable to meet a variety of trades on the job site. Got a little demo here, but you'll see that within each of the activities that we need to schedule out, you can select multiple days or multiple roles, drag your resources over. And what Assignar does is it allows you to set up profiles for each resource in the system. And so whether it's crewmen or the equipment, you can set criteria for each of the items being scheduled. So that little list on the right-hand side is self-filtered down, so that you're selecting only the crews and equipment that are fit for service. And also we're tracking things like licenses, site orientations, and training. And so if there are expirations, you're not scheduling out these resources that are unfit for service. Nothing like sending a crane operator, a rigging operator to the job site with an expired license. It'll shut down the job, really quickly. And so Assignar allows you to be proactive in managing away from those problems. As I mentioned before, safety and compliance is critical. And so you all know that, managing all of the documentation, whether it be OSHA or other regulatory needs, or even specific site needs, depending on, the type of owner, if it's government work or some high risk specialty work on the job site. Managing safety and compliance is key. And we understand there are a lot of resources available to you to manage your safety and compliance. But what Assignar does differently is we integrate that into the scheduling workflows. And so throughout our system, you'll see notifications about if resources are pending expiration. So whether, as I mentioned, it's site orientations or certain qualifications or training, we're going to be able to capture that for you. And we're going to put it into the scheduling workflow so that you can be proactive about how you manage that. We can take any existing documents that you have, paper documents or other systems that you may use, and we can digitize those. This little picture here on the right is what our mobile application looks like. And our custom form builder is highly configurable, meaning that you can put any type of question, any type of drop-down box, a signature box, capture photos, anything that you need to capture from the job site, we can configure in our forms builder. And so whether it be capturing, as I mentioned, job site hazard analysis or incident report, we're able to configure our system to do that. We understand that a lot of the general contractors or owners that you're working for require reporting in a specific format. And within Assignar, you can aggregate the information from this forms engine, and you can put it into a Word document, an Excel document, or a PDF in the original format that your general contractor or owner is asking you to put it into. So we're helping to manage the change or the adoption of technology by understanding that not all the stakeholders that you're working with are going to be changing or have modern solutions. So we still have that bridge to paper and emailing of those paper documents. Another interesting thing that we're able to do is use these forms to capture things like progress and productivity. You can capture quantities installed in the field and all other completion criteria that you might. And so this kind of bleeds over into the quality aspect of your operations. So as you're looking to digitize, think of any of the information that you want to capture in a structured way. We can put that into a form. We can associate that with any of the personnel or resources you have and roll that up at both a kind of a job or a project level, as well as reporting aggregate across your clients or across all of your jobs. So as I mentioned and alluded to here, Assignar has a built-in business intelligence module. It's highly customizable. You can capture information about any of the data. So the blocks that you see here, we have some pre-configured reports that we find a lot of our customers use. When you go with Assignar, you get a dedicated customer success manager who reviews your operations and the needs of your operations. And then we have them help you learn how to use the system, learn how to use the configuration within the system, and then they train the trainer. So they'll set you up with what you need to be successful. And then a lot of this can be configured by a super user within your own organization. But of course, we're always there to help. On the bottom right there, you can see that little smiley face. There is in-application chat. And also, we're a phone call away to help you configure new reports. What you're seeing here on the screen is a pre-configured report, but then also this activity feed on the right-hand side. And so as the data is coming in from the forms, you're able to report on the data in any format that you want to. So we can configure reports to be sent out via email, or you can have reports right here within the web application, depending on the user. So the value of data, maybe a bit more philosophical view of things is, are you able to take advantage of all three of these types of data analysis? So there is value in looking at data over past projects, and Assignar allows you to do that. As I showed you, the real-time activity feed gives you access to data as it's coming in from the field. And because we're tying together progress, productivity, safety, and compliance and quality, it's important to see all of that within context. And so Assignar, because it is connected real-time to the cloud, we have a native Android and iOS mobile application in the field. You're able to see all of that together and make real-time decisions. But because we're managing the certifications, qualifications, and information about job site productivity, you can actually become predictive. And so on our scheduling platform, you can start to make changes to your future jobs before it's too late. And so you have the information at your fingertips to start to plan in the future. Bringing these workflows together and putting them on a platform with that business intelligence across all of them gives you that ability. So I like to use this portion to talk about the actual value of the platform. And so I'm going to use something simple here. Looking across the data, certainly you can start to assess vendor performance, incident analysis, equipment utilization, looking at your rental versus your owned equipment, and forecasting maintenance of that equipment. But a really practical story that came from one of our customers was a contractor, I believe it was a welding contractor, was getting incident reports from the job site that they were getting right hand injuries. And it was happening in an infrequent basis, and they were having a hard time trying to understand what exactly it was. But because they were scheduling out specific scope of work for particular type of resources with a certain set of skills, they were able to discern that it was a particular activity that was causing these hand injuries. And ultimately, after they aggregated the data, they were able to locate the fact that they were using the wrong gloves. They had procured the wrong PPE. They were able to swap that out and take care of it. But because it was across multiple projects, multiple foremen, large geographic dispersion, it would have taken a very long time for that analysis to occur in a lot of conversations. They were able to quickly pull that together, look back at some of the data, the incident analysis, and the type of work, and through the reporting, they were able to come up with a resolution for that rather quickly. And so, definitely in this case, not life-saving, but definitely, keeping workers, paid and on the job site, keeping the job site on track. And so, it had a massive impact on both their crews and their ability to deliver for the general contractor that they were working with. So this one hits home, especially recently. So with COVID, everybody globally is adopting to new ways of working, trying to encourage work safety. We're all very fortunate to be in in an industry that continues working during a lot of the shutdown. Although I understand, not everybody was as fortunate, but generally speaking, the construction industry has continued to move forward. But we're all, again, accounting for the changes required in coordinating the job site. Social distancing is a very real thing. Toolbox talks, have changed. You're not coming into the job site trailer or the office potentially in the morning as you used to. And so this has become a really critical component of Assignar. And you'll see if you go to our website, there are some case studies on our customers who have benefited from this. So we have built-in texting. You can text directly with resources or to groups of resources. We track all of that information, and we have an audit trail. You can templatize your text. So if somebody's training is coming up, you don't have to type a long text of what they should do, drop that template in and send it out. But text has a 100% open rate, email doesn't. And so they don't get stale. Most of the job site supervisors or crewmen have some way to receive text. And so we've built it into the system and associate it with all the resources in the system. So if you're texting about a piece of equipment, it's associated with that. And then, as I mentioned before, the forms are also real time. So gathering that information, if there's a damage report that comes up on the screen here, you can action it immediately. You can set workflow notifications and resolve that quickly. And then finally, the last kind of component here of resource management, of course, is cost management. We do have the availability of a first principles cloud-based estimating product. We are working to integrate this to our operations platform so that you can completely automate your unit productivity. But for today, it's ready to go. It can service a wide range of construction trades. Because it is first principles, you can go down to the very granular material level, down to very granular task level, and componentize and group those for very fast, flexible estimating. It's multiplayer, as I like to say, so you can have a number of folks collaborating on this. And not only that, it has the ability to capture revisions to estimates over time and actuals so that you can start to report on your performance. All right, so finally, kind of the home stretch here. How do you work with us? Um, you can go big or go small with Assigner. So as I mentioned, we're highly configurable. We have a wide range of customers that we serve. So if you're only looking for something simple to start, like forms or texting, our sales team will work with you to configure a solution that works for you. Most companies that work with us leverage the scheduling aspects because we're scheduling for your resources for availability and fit for service. That's the proactive nature of the platform. But the premium operations management is everything that I showed you today. It's the full ability to manage your resources, get insights, begin to plan and execute, get to that proactive data management. As I mentioned, we do have the ability to integrate. So whether other systems you're using, if they're legacy systems, we can do automated CSVs. We have the ability to use middleware like Zapier, and you can Google Assigner API and get information. If you've got a strong tech team, they can build out integrations on their own with our API. So without going any further, we're running up on time here, and it was kind of a lightning round, but feel free to go to www.assignar.com. That's ASSIGNAR.com, or give us a call. Kevin, I'll turn it back over to you.
Well, thank you very much, Ryan. Great, short, punchy presentation. And we do have a couple of questions. But first, I kind of have a question on my own, of my own. You know, we typically have relatively small contractors that would obviously fit in your demographic. Where do you find the most value comes from to the small contractor when they're utilizing your product?
Yeah, because working with some of we do have some overlapping functionality with some of the large ERP vendors. And so Assigner actually, if you're using a smaller accounting system like QuickBooks, Assigner actually offers you a lot of that functionality at a lower cost. So you don't necessarily need to upgrade your accounting system to get things like digital timekeeping, safety and compliance management. So it's actually a nice step to move into automating your full operations. But then again, we also integrate with those larger systems, and so you can piece together a workflow that works best for your business, and you can select either the accounting features or ours, and we can shut those modules, turn them on and off.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that because the first question is, so the software works with our accounting software, question mark? It doesn't have an accounting portion,
That's
question.
correct. Yeah. So we're not replacing your job cost accounting, your procurement, accounts receivable, or accounts payable. We're not trying to do that. What we're doing is digitizing the information from the field and feeding it back into your accounting system. The type of accounting system you have will determine the level of integration that we can have. But no matter what, we can automate a data import export using our business intelligence. So even if you have an older accounting system, it's likely we can automate that for you.
Gotcha. We have a question on the availability of PowerPoint. I want to point out, I was just going to say it earlier and it slipped my mind, but this is being recorded. It'll live on www.impact-net.org. Probably be up within 24 hours or so. So, you know, the whole kit and caboodle will be there for people to watch on demand as we go forward. Two last quick questions, and we'll wrap up. What's your pricing model?
We use a tiered pricing model. So we go by number of workers, and we don't do the named user license. So, you know, if you have 100 workers, then you can use 100 workers, and we will reprice kind of at your renewal. So if during the year you go from 100 to 115 workers, we're not going to be charging you more. We're on annual pricing basis. We encourage you to use as much of the platform as possible. We're not going to nickel and dime you. And the price we set gives you access to everything I showed you today.
And last one before we wrap up, because we want to be respectful of everybody's time. Do you allow potential customers to pilot the program?
So depending on the size of the customer, I mean, if we, you know, for every small customer, if we did pilots, we would probably bury ourselves in customer success. But look, it's worth a conversation. If you have a large organization and you'd like to pilot with a smaller group, give us a call. Let's have a conversation about what that program might look like for you. We do understand that change is difficult, and so let's have that conversation and see if we can work something.
Great. Well, I'm going to cut it off there. Like I said, we want to be respectful of people's time. Ryan, Elvia, thank you very much for lending us this resource. We look forward to seeing everybody February 14th through the 17th next year in Orlando, where you can meet Ryan and Elvia in person, along with other impact vendors. And again, this will be hosted on our website. Be able to watch it over again. And thank you again. And by the way, Ryan and Elvia or someone from Assignar will be giving your contact information, and they'll be happy to follow up with you. Guys, thank you very much. Have a great, safe, and healthy day. We'll talk to
Great.
you later.
Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it.